Hi, my name is Ruth Cooper-Dickson. I'm a positive psychology practitioner and I'm a wellbeing, resilience and trauma-informed coach. I'm also a patron of No Panic, and I myself have been diagnosed with generalised anxiety disorder and panic disorder, which I have been in recovery from now for coming up to 5.5 years. Just like everybody else at the moment, with the last year of the pandemic of COVID-19, it has been really, really tough for lots of people, for many of us. And I think looking for the positives at times has been really, really tough. As a positive psychology practitioner, we aren't just about rainbows, unicorns, and everything being rose tinted glasses. Actually, what we do very much specialize within is knowing how to thrive, and that also means thriving and experiencing difficult, tough, complex situations and working through those in the best way that we can. And thriving is about that just as much as thriving is about being happy and content and flourishing. So gratitude for me has been a big part of my life in the last year. It wasn't really something that I consciously practiced regularly before the pandemic. And within positive psychology, we have what's called positive psychology intervention. So this is applied positive psychology tools, if you like, which are evidence-based. They are peer-reviewed, academic, research-driven. So they're not kind of some of the exercises that you might find in a self-help book, which isn't necessarily grounded in science. And gratitude interventions really have been one of the most researched of all the interventions, and it's definitely seen as one of those that can really help alleviate feelings of anxiety, feelings of low mood, can really start to build on our sense of optimism and hope for the future, which at the moment I think is so important. And when I talk about optimism, I'm not talking about being overly positive about the future, because we know we're in this state of uncertainty, right? We know we can't plan at the moment to go on holiday, or we can't plan family events, or we can't put those plans in motion, but actually having those small granular levels of optimism that kind of build. And this is actually called broaden and build theory, where we experience something positive and we can build on it, and we can broaden ourselves out, and we can build on it again and broaden ourselves out. And that is really, really important for humans to thrive and to flourish. So a gratitude intervention, one simple exercise that I have been doing since the first lockdown, is what's called the 3 good things. And the way that I interpreted this intervention for me was that I use an app on my phone when I go to bed, which just reminds me of a couple of evening rituals that I do as part of my sleep habits in the evening. And one of those is actually, it pops up to remind myself of 3 good things. So all I do is I bring to mind throughout that day 3 things that I'm really grateful for. Now that can be as much as, a really lovely cup of coffee in the morning. It can be the fact that the sun is shining today, it's just stopped snowing and the blue sky is out. It might be that I received an email from a colleague that really made me feel kind of special. It might be that I really enjoyed my breakfast that morning. They can be so small. They don't have to be huge, big acts of kindness or big wins or big rewards, because the idea behind the 3 good things is we look for those small nuggets which really bring that meaning and purpose and hope and optimism into who we are. And the more that I started doing that, the more I realized that actually what was happening was that as I was doing this, the 3 things, even when I was really struggling, at some points when I've been really struggling in the pandemic, I've gone, I've just suddenly started thinking of more. So I'll think of those 3 things and then, but oh, there was that one, oh, there was that one. And before I know it, I'm just thinking of all these little memories throughout my day, which have been really impactful. And maybe not at the time, but looking back, they definitely were. So it's a really good habit to get into. And if you're a writer, if you're somebody who journals, perhaps in the evening you can journal, or maybe in the morning and retrospectively do it for the day before. Some people use the 3 good things in the morning, so they kind of, when they wake up, they might reflect upon 3 things they're really grateful for, which is really to bring an intention into their day, which is a really nice way of doing it as well. So maybe the evening doesn't work for you, and maybe you're somebody who could just wake up in the morning, and before you pick up your phone, before you step out of bed, just think of those 3 things you're grateful for right now. And hopefully that will bring a little bit of intention, of positive intention, into your day. So there's different ways that you can bring in that gratitude, and even if you wanted to go even deeper, you could take those 3 good things and you could really attribute what was the cause of that. So what was it about this wonderful cup of coffee that I really enjoyed? Well, maybe it was because I was using a mug that I had when I went to Sweden a few years ago with my best friend on a trip, and that brings me back to that memory. Maybe it was the fact that this coffee was a little treat. It was perhaps a different brand that I wouldn't usually go for. Maybe paid a little bit more money, so it smells like I'm actually in the cafe rather than in my own home in lockdown. Maybe it was just because I had a little sense of being able to pause out of my day away from my screen. Maybe I actually drank this coffee in my lounge away from my desk and everything. So I do hope this helps. It's something to keep building on as well. It's one of those when, you know, we can do it once and we can perhaps feel a little flicker of those positive emotions, but like everything, we have to keep doing it regularly. You know, we have to keep building on it. So it is something that needs to be put into practice, and then you will kind of feel it when you don't do it. So it's a bit like when you forget to brush your teeth or when you forget to put your deodorant on, you kind of go, why do I feel so kind of out of sorts? Why does that feel a little weird? And it's just having those practices. But it is simple. It doesn't need anything else but just your mind. You don't even have to write it down. You can just literally think that through in your head, as I said, before you go to sleep or when you wake up. I really hope that you find that useful, and yeah, I'd love to hear how you get on with that exercise. So do drop in the comments below, let me know how you go. Thank you so much for listening to this really short video. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this, and I sending you lots of love. Be safe, be well, and do take care of yourself and others. Thank you.